Welcome to Motion Deep Dive. Unravel the magic behind the screen. All right, so are you ready to jump back into Arcane?
Oh, absolutely. I'm so excited for this season, and especially this first act.
Me too. But there's a lot to unpack, so we better get right to it. This deep dive is going to be all about Act 1 of Season 2. And you guys requested the fast lane, so we're going to try to hit the highlights, especially the music.
Yeah, the music this season is just next level.
I know. It's insane. Like how they can make you feel so many things at once. Epic and heartbreaking. And sometimes even kind of terrified all at the same time. I'm not usually someone who like geeks out about soundtracks, but this one is something else.
Totally agree. It's the way they blend all those different genres together. Like you've got these huge orchestral pieces that just swell during the fight scenes, and then it gives way to this like gritty, almost industrial sound that really captures the underbelly of Zaun. It's not just background music. It's like another character in the story.
Okay, so let's start with the biggest thing, right? Jinx's attack on the council. Season 2 picks up like literally seconds after the finale. No time wasted.
It's crazy. Right back into the action. And critics are saying this season is even denser than the first.
Yeah, they weren't kidding. So much happens in just these first 3 episodes. So we're dealing with the immediate fallout of the attack. And it's not pretty. We see characters grappling with some serious loss, questioning their loyalties, and making choices that are going to have some huge consequences.
For sure. And the music just underscores every single beat. Like that opening scene when V and Caitlin are racing to the council chambers, you can just feel the tension building.
Oh, and that scene where Jinx is like spiraling.
Yeah.
Haunted by those visions of powder.
Yeah, the way that song Renegade just like perfectly captures her inner turmoil, it's amazing. And the lyrics too, it's like they're speaking directly to her struggle, that feeling of being trapped between two worlds, unable to escape the past.
So Jinx is clearly wrestling with what she's done. But then we see this kind of unexpected side of her when she meets that young, mute urchin. What was her name?
Isha.
Isha, right.
Yeah.
And their connection is just, so heartbreaking.
I know, and there's a depth to their relationship that goes beyond just like a simple connection. Isha represents this like yearning for innocence for Jinx, like a simpler time before she became so consumed by all this chaos. It's almost like she's trying to protect Isha from becoming another victim.
Speaking of protecting people, that seems to be V's main goal right now. But she's gone and made a pretty drastic decision. She's an enforcer now.
Talk about a moral dilemma, right? Aligning herself with the very force that tormented her in the past.
It's brutal. And it shows just how far Vi is willing to go to protect her sister and Caitlin. But makes you wonder, how far are we willing to go to protect the ones we love? Even if it means compromising our own values.
It's a tough question. And Arcane doesn't shy away from those tough questions.
No, it definitely doesn't. And Caitlin, oh man, poor Caitlin. She is not doing well.
No, she's definitely gone through it. Losing her mother in the attack. I mean, talk about trauma.
It's heartbreaking. And it's kind of chilling how quickly she transforms from this idealistic councilwoman to someone willing to embrace some pretty dark tactics.
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes Arcane so compelling. It doesn't give you easy answers or simple heroes and villains. It's all about these complex characters making tough choices in impossible situations.
Okay, so we've got Jinx struggling with her past, Vi making tough choices, and Caitlin spiraling down a dark path. But then there's Victor, and things just get really interesting. Because he's back from the dead. Not only is he alive, but he's basically a messiah in Zaun, now wielding this incredible power from the Hex Core. I mean, come on.
It's mind-blowing, and it raises all these fascinating questions about the line between technology and magic and what happens when that line gets blurred. Victor's return is a total game changer.
It totally is. And speaking of changing the game, we can't forget about Mbessa, Mel's Noxian mother.
Uh-oh.
She is a force to be reckoned with. She basically waltzes in and seizes control of the council. And she is not messing around, immediately pushing for war with Zaun.
Yeah, she's got a lot of people worried. Her motivations are definitely a little murky. It's clear she's playing the long game. But what's her end game? It's hard to say, but one thing's for sure, it's not going to be good for anyone.
Especially with those subtle hints and her Noxian connections. That's some scary stuff.
Yeah. Noxian influence in Piltover, that could have some serious consequences down the line.
All right, so before we get too deep into all the political intrigue, I want to loop back to the music for a sec, because seriously, it deserves its own deep dive.
I'm with you on that. The soundtrack is just phenomenal, and it plays such a crucial role in the storytelling.
Like, remember that scene where Caitlyn's looking over her mother's plans for that ventilation system for Zaun,
Yeah.
and Heavy as the Crown starts playing in the background? Chills.
Oh, for sure. That's a great example of how the music can just perfectly capture the mood and foreshadow what's to come. You can feel the weight of responsibility on Caitlyn's shoulders and the potential for that weight to become a burden.
Yeah, it's those little details that make Arcane so special. The way the music and the visuals and the story all weave together to create this, like, totally immersive experience.
It's true. You're
Yeah.
not just watching a show, you're living it.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so addictive. You just want to keep watching to see what happens next
Yeah.
and to hear what amazing song they're going to use next.
Oh, absolutely. And trust me, the music in Act 2, even better. But we'll save that for our next deep dive.
Yeah, you got to stay tuned for that.
It's amazing how they managed to pack so much action into these episodes, but still give you these, like, quieter moments that just hit you right in the feel.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And speaking of emotional gut punches, that fight scene in the Shimmer Cavern, Jinx, V, and Savika. Talk about intense.
Oh my gosh, I know. The animation in that scene is just next level. I mean, Fortitia's already known for their incredible animation, but they really outdid themselves with this one. Seriously. The way they blend 2D and 3D animation, like, it's seamless. You can feel the power behind every single blow. And the setting itself. So cool. That otherworldly glow from the crystals and the weird plants.
Right, like it's not just a fight scene, it's like this whole trippy visual experience. And speaking of trippy, that scene between Caitlyn and Vi,
In the alleyway. I mean,
that kiss. Talk about a moment.
it's like a little flicker of hope amidst all the darkness, you know? Like, even in this world that's on the brink of war, there's still room for love.
Oh, I love that. But the show definitely doesn't shy away from showing just how brutal this conflict is. Like the casualties, the families torn apart, it's all there. And it's not just some black and white battle between good and evil. It's a lot more nuanced than that.
Yeah, it's really an exploration of human nature, you know? What happens when we're pushed to our limits? What choices do we make?
And like you said before, none of the characters are perfect. They all have their flaws and their own motivations. It's what makes them so real.
Absolutely. And relatable. Like, take Echo, for example. He's trying so hard to protect Zaun, but he's also still dealing with his past with Jinx. It's gotta be tough.
Yeah, torn between loyalty and doing what he thinks is right. And then you've got Heimerdinger, always the voice of reason. Even though he's like ancient, he can see that Jace's ambition is getting a little out of control.
Yeah, Heimerdinger is like the wise old sage who's seen it all. He knows that progress can come at a cost, and he's worried about the wild runes. He knows how dangerous they are.
And he's right to be worried. I mean, those glimpses we get of Warwick, terrifying. It's like a visual representation of all the violence that's brewing.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, the League of Legends lore, Warwick is a pretty significant figure. He's a symbol of transformation, of losing yourself to those primal instincts.
And that's what makes this show so fascinating. It's not just about superheroes and magic. It's about us, about the choices we make and the consequences that follow.
And it's told with such incredible artistry. I mean, the animation, the music, the story, it all comes together so perfectly. It's a show that really stays with you.
So are you ready for Act 2?
Hit me with it. I am hooked. We've talked about, like, the plot and the music and all this crazy stuff, but I think we need to take a minute and just appreciate the animation in this show.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's seriously next level.
For Tish, they just keep pushing the boundaries, you know? It's not just about making things look pretty. It's like they're using the animation to tell the story.
Right, like remember that scene where Vi's getting sworn in as an enforcer?
Oh, yeah.
Surrounded by all those like stiff figures in their blue uniforms?
It's such a contrast to the Vi we know, right?
Exactly, and as the ceremony goes on, the animation style like subtly changes
Oh,
too.
how so?
It becomes more rigid, more structured. It's like mirroring Vi's own struggle to conform to Piltover's authority.
Whoa, I didn't even notice that, but that's so cool.
It's like she's literally being molded into something new. You know, losing a bit of her rebellious spirit with each frame.
Wow, and it's all done without any dialogue, too. It's just pure visual storytelling.
Crazy.
That's insane. And, you know, another scene that really stands out to me is when Victor goes down into the undercity to heal those Shimmer addicts.
Oh, yeah.
The animation there takes on this, like, ethereal quality, almost like a dream, you know? With those glowing purple hues and those fluid movements.
It's like we're seeing Victor's transformation reflected in the animation style itself.
Exactly. He's becoming this, like, almost godlike figure,
Mhm.
driven by this desire to heal and to help people.
But there's also like this darkness lurking beneath the surface, right?
Whoa, absolutely. Like a hint of the monster he could become.
Right. And the animators don't shy away from showing that duality is what makes it so compelling.
It's true. And speaking of compelling visuals, what about that scene where Caitlin leads that strike force down into Zaun?
Yeah.
Visually stunning, right? The way they navigate those, like, grimy tunnels and those, like, treacherous pathways.
And colors, too.
Yes. The colors. Piltover's all, like, sterile blues and whites clashing against Zaun's vibrant greens and oranges.
You really feel that divide between the two cities.
It's like two worlds colliding.
And then, of course, we have the fight scenes.
Oh, don't even get me started on the fight scenes.
They're like action ballets.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
With those slow motion flourishes and those crazy camera angles.
And you feel every punch, every explosion.
Like you're right there in the middle of it.
They create this, like, visceral intensity, but they never lose sight of the emotional stakes,
Oh, totally. Like that final showdown between Jinx V and Savika.
Oh, man.
That eerie green light from the wild room, casting those long shadows and distorting their features.
Yeah, it's beautiful and terrifying at the same time.
And as the fight goes on, the animation gets more and more frantic.
Right, like mirroring their unraveling mental states.
It's like a visual representation of chaos and desperation.
Exactly. And it's moments like that that remind you that you're not just watching a cartoon, you're experiencing art.
Yes. Arcane is not just a show, it's an experience.
Sure. It pulls you in, makes you feel every heartbreak, every triumph, every loss.
And the animation is such a huge part of that.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on Arcane Season 2, Act 1, let's just take a second to appreciate the artistry of it all.
The talent of everyone at Fortiche is just incredible.
They've created something truly special, something that's going to stick with people for a long time.
I can't wait to see what they do next.
Me neither. But for now, let's just savor these first 3 episodes and all those, like, mind-blowing moments they gave us.
Thanks for joining us on this wild ride through Arcane Act 1. We hope you enjoyed it.
And remember, this is just the beginning. We've got a whole season ahead of us filled with even more twists and turns and amazing visuals.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the worlds that fascinate you.
And as always, let us know what you think. Share your theories, your reactions, your favorite moments.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive to explore a whole new world of knowledge and wonder.
See you then.